Doesn't work. don't want to rewrite them. Hey. Oh, sick. Oh wow, these aren't even the right images anymore. Okay. Easy enough. Actually really like what I ended up doing last time. I'm sure there's a faster way to do that. La 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 la. Oh, for fuck's sake, what was the bar on this one? 33. Trippy. Funny that I used bring to the front. It didn't totally work. Ah. Honestly, this might be the better one to use for the scenario thing. Whoa, spooky. break time. Break time. Okay, let's see. Hello everyone. We're gonna chat for the next 5 minutes. You can totally ask what I'm working on. Right now I'm working on. Ooh, this is loud. I'm working on some products for my company facilitator cards. This is the pro deck that we sell that has 56 processes in it for like workshop building and stuff. And this is our new meetings pack, which has 18. So I'm working on the meeting pack sales page, and I'm working on the Run Better Meetings guide, which takes 12 of the cards and makes it like easy to understand how to plan and run your meetings. Let's see. This is not an ad. This is just literally what I am working on right now. Yay, thanks for being here. Yeah, my keyboard's like not actually that ergonomic, it turns out. It's like it's fine. I prefer the split keyboard because it keeps my typing hygiene good. Otherwise I will just use my right hand basically for everything, but it definitely slows me down a little bit, but I have a wildly high typing speed, so it's still like 87 words per minute. So not a huge deal. If I need to type really fast, I'll always break out like my laptop because I'm up to like 114 words a minute on there. Yeah, it is a learning curve. I really enjoy the website Monkey Type. I also paid one time for the Speed Racer website. Not worth paying for, I'll be honest, but Monkey Type's really great if you're looking to improve your keyboard skills. Yeah, typing is one of those. I'm a very fast writer. I think like that's actually key to writing, is just getting faster and faster, like the connection between your brain and the page. So I do cursive when I'm handwriting because it's the fastest you can write, and I really wanted to get faster in typing in the last year. And I honestly think that's a huge part of productivity as well for me, is just being able to like bang stuff out pretty fast. I really like mechanical keyboards. I got into them during the pandemic. Do definitely do your research before you start buying, because the thing is, it's tempting to be like, I'll just get a cheap one, but then you're already in the whole $50 and you have a cheap keyboard instead of waiting and spending like the good money on the good keyboard. But also, like, you're gonna buy more than one keyboard if you get into it, so don't stress too much about your first keyboard. Buy a cheap one, see if you like it, you know? But a lot of the cheaper keyboards also now are like really nice and come with like weighted backs and stuff. So it's good. What I realized is that like I didn't need new keyboards. What I was really into were the key caps. So like the like topper one style ones. So I got really into buying different keycaps, and there's one brand that makes really, really nice ones. And I'll be changing out my keycaps tomorrow because it's Sunday. So I'll be sure to update everybody on what the color scheme for next week is. But yeah, there's a lot to learn with keyboards, so it can get really overwhelming. But like, I'm glad that I didn't spend too much money in the beginning. I bought one keyboard that was too high but felt really good. And that was annoying because eventually my wrists hurt. And then I learned a lot about ergonomics at one point because I realized I was like, my handwriting was bad. Like, it was coming out of my wrist and not my shoulder. So I watched a bunch of videos on like how to set up your desk for stuff. This is a standing desk, so it's really adjustable, which is nice. Because it turns out that everything is basically just coming from posture. But yeah, I'm so tired, but I have a work meeting tomorrow, and I want to make sure that I wake up early and do everything for that. And I want to just like get some stuff done. So gonna do at least 20 more minutes and then another round of chit chat. So if you have things you want to talk about, or like any specifically if there's like heated rivalry stuff anyone wants to talk about during the break, I think the next break is 10 minutes. And then I'll probably try to like shut down for the night. I napped all day. I was just like really sad today, so I stayed in bed until like 4 p.m., got up, showered, and did some work because it's never too late to start and you don't have to throw your whole day away for one bad decision. All right, 20 minutes. Let's do it. Ooh, I'm going to do this typing test first. Let's see how fast I can type. That was not good. Oh, 104.77. There we go. Thanks, Mad Men. Killing it, crushing it. Okay. I just want to make sure I'm not fucking something up. Ugh, fuck, I am. God damn it. Why can't I undo? Okay, so that can come back. Oh, sick. That didn't. Sick. Ah, cancel. Swear to God. Okay, let's see. How do I do this? How do I like duplicate the theme without fucking up the thing. Okay, so that's there. I was like, ooh, a live visitor. It's me. I'm the live visitor. Themes. Edit theme. God, we have way better photography on the old ones. Okay. Okay. This is why I don't do this shit, because I'm bad at it. Alright, let's see. What am I even trying to duplicate? Theme template. That's not what I mean. Oh, that's how easy it is. Cool. Kind of love that we use minute papers for everything. That's so helpful. Jesus, there's 132 pages in here. God, that's wild. The amount of work it actually takes to get a product done is like just fries me. Oh, look at how much better that looks. You can't really even see it. That's fine. All right, 20 seconds left. I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. It's gonna be great. I'm gonna get things done. Da 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 da. Let's download this on a transparent background. Ugh. Yay, we made it to break. I'm almost done. I don't know why this is on such a gray ass background. But I might have to fucking do it this way. Oh, that would be because it saved my fucking thing. Well, I'm cutting into break. I don't think this is zoomed in enough. Whatever, I'll do this after. Okay, hello, it's break time. I'm here. Let's chat. Okay. Oh, wow. Lots happening in the chat. Can I get back to the top? Okay. The essay on hand stitching is coming along very slowly. I do have, let's see, I can kind of zoom out and we can watch some clips together. God, this is such it's the the layout for the chat that I can see is like really not the best layout. YouTube, I can like scroll through it like one at a time. I do love to bookend things. That's very true. I skip episode 3 most times, I'll be honest. You know, I get it. I like it. It's fine. It's not that it's bad. It's just that it's a coffee shop AU. And if you don't already know both of the characters, like, this is where fanfic doesn't translate for me into books, is like, if you don't know both the characters, why would I care that one of them is a barista? Like, why would I be rooting for, I need more. I need more to root for. And yeah, I'm excited. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what's going on in Unrivaled. Episode 3 does have one of my favorite Ilya moments. I really enjoy when he's telling his team, "I love you, I love you, I love you," as they come off the ice. I'm interested to see what they do with the other books and if they end up incorporating, like, I'll be honest, I found the second book's kind of world to be much goofier in kind of like a fantastical magical realism way of like, and there's this other team full of like very queer and accepting people, and like, isn't it, we can have it all, which is fine, like it's a romance novel thing, but I do feel like the tone of the first book is much more like quote unquote realistic. I don't need realism in my romance, but I am interested to see how they kind of incorporate that. Um, I see. Okay, I do think that there are quite a few theories about the "good job, I love you," and I do think he could be saying it to the same person. It could be someone who's expressed like I get uncomfortable when you say I love you. I love Ilya as a captain. I think he's a great captain. Um, here. Like you can't really even see shit. Here are all of the clips I've pulled of just the times their hands touch in episode 1. Um, so that's fun. Um, I did not do a good job naming them. So I should probably do that. But it's all cut up. It's all ready to go. Introduce myself. We got the first handshake. First handshake, second handshake, it all happens so quickly. There's 8 times I think in episode 1 that their hands touch. The last one's in Vegas. Yeah, let's watch the scene. Why not? The sound in episode 1 is terrible for me. See you next season. It's somehow more and less. There's 8 clips at least. I don't know if the gym I counted both rebuttal touches as separate touches. I should check that out. But yeah, it's why it's taking me a minute because I was like, oh, there's a lot, like not a lot more. I don't know. Let's see. Okay, so we got. Let's go through a number of these. Let's get my system in order here. Great. That's number 1. This is the second handshake. You will not be so nice when we beat you. Yeah. Don't worry, he will be. He's the nicest boy in the whole planet. The thing about smoking is that it's a perfectly natural way to highlight your cheekbones. And so that is one of the great benefits that we have is that everybody, I'm so sorry, everybody looks good smoking. The thing is, I only counted the sex scenes when their hands touch in the sex scenes. All right, that's number 2. Number 3 is also a handshake. It's the see you at the draft handshake. And then Shane looks so off kilter, which is also just one of my favorite things. They fluster each other. 4th. That's not the 4th. Oh, no, it is, because it happens at the draft. Okay, let's see if I counted this as separate things. I don't think I did. All right, so it's just number 4. 5th hand touch. I have feet touching? I don't know what oh, I did separate them. Okay, so the water bottle was 2 separate instances. We're good. No, of course we didn't stand a chance. Look at, like, I will say I was talking to a friend yesterday and she was like, so like, are like, my friend who still hasn't watched it is very like, what do you find what's attractive about the whole thing? And like, I was telling her, I was like, what's really fucking wild is like, Connor doesn't look like Ilya. Like, it's very different. It's the jaw is not held the same way. It's absolutely fucking wild to me. Yeah, this is just the long scene. Oh, okay, good. I did do a super cut of every time their hands touched, and then I clipped from there. So that's what this is. This is not number one. This is the overall. This is why it takes me 9 million years to do anything, is because I'm not able to do things halfway. Okay. This is the sixth time their hands touch. Also, one of my favorite Ilya expressions, and I think Shane winks here. It's like the far eye, but it's a wink. It's a real wink. This I count as a hand touch, but only because he grabs his hand when it goes on his boob. So I did count that as a hand touch. But there's also, isn't there one in their very first hookup? Could I just not see it on the bed? Can I? I don't think I can edit that while on live. I think that's against the rules. Okay, and then this is number 8 overall. But I do have the feet touching, which I think is just under the table.
Sorry, not to jump the gun here, but with Rosenov's permission, I know. What do you say? And here.
Yeah, I don't know what the feet touch counts as. But it is what? It's between it's before this, because this is at the All-Stars game, so it's a 6.5. There is hand holding in their very first time that they hook up with each other. But it's like really hard to see on the bed, but I know that it happens. So there's 9 times that they touch hands in the very first episode. Yeah, and they're not together as much in the second in many ways, but you see their hands a lot. Hands are important. Hands are communicating things. Yeah, they touch feet a few times. I mean, like the cottage has the literal callback of like the feet touching under the table, but also just like their feet being intertwined while they're chatting that night is also great. Yeah, the press conference is interesting. Like the feet under the table of it all is interesting. It's unique. I like it. I like the covert touches. It makes it feel very real. Yeah, I'm definitely missing that one because like that's the thing that the callback is in this clip is because like Shane knows to do this because Ilya did this to him. So definitely missing one. Definitely can't clip it. I don't think on the live without maybe incurring some potentially adult tags on there. So that's that. I'll do it after. And then I have to go through and pull them all for 2. They don't touch in 3, but they high five their like teammates. So I mean, the thing is, like, we all learn in different ways, and I think like Shane learning by mirroring makes a lot of sense to me. It's also, I don't know, it's why like it really breaks my heart when he tries to like bring up family a few times, and it just um, never quite lands the way he's hoping to, and he's trying to connect. He's trying his best. They're both trying their best. But Ilya's their best is just like opposite. It's great. It's really well done miscommunication, and a big part of that I think is just like their inherent conflict is really really good. Um, yeah, the one of the first videos I made about this show, I joked that everybody owes Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross another check, because I do think that the music is very much inspired, I would say, in that same way. Like, not that Challengers was the first, but like a lot of the heartbeat driven stuff feels very Trent and Atticus to me. And I really enjoy all of their scores. They're like the number one thing that I write to is the Social Network soundtrack and the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo soundtrack, especially in the winter. So it's like the driving beat soundtrack really reminded me of their stuff, which I love. So not a knock, and I enjoy that. Like there's the music in this felt so Canadian, and like, and I because there was French music, there was other things included. It had like a very international flavor to it, and I went to high school in Vermont, so like my best friend was Canadian, and we spent a lot of time in Canada. I almost went to school in Canada. I almost went to boarding school in Montreal. So we spent like a good amount of time in Canada, and it's just like it's an interesting culture, and it's much much more international in terms of like obviously because they also speak French, but it's like there's a whole thing. So it's great. I really enjoy it, and it's also deeply millennial, and like my friend did not know that it's a millennial time capsule. And that has been a big thing that I'm trying to like get her on board with. It's like, come on, like it's great. There's music that you'll like click into and be like, oh my god, all the music used to sound like that, and it's the best and the worst. I'm glad that they're releasing the soundtrack. I need them to release a DVD. I think that this show has the potential to like reinvigorate sales for DVDs of seasons. Because I also would love a director's commentary, and I would love an actor's commentary, and I think that that would be very fun, and everyone would be really into it. I would love a production commentary because there used to be so many good commentary soundtracks, and like they used to do commentary soundtracks with the music people and with this like, and they're just some of the everything I've ever learned about film and television, I have learned from behind the scenes featurettes on DVDs. And it's nice that like the costume people are getting interviews. And like I read an interview with the cinematographer today that was in, I think, no, Vulture, New York Mag, one of them. I couldn't get it. It's one of them that's always like you're at your monthly limit, even though you've never opened an article from them before. So what I did is I open it in an incognito tab, and then I like turn on airplane mode really fast, and it like let it load. So I did grab screenshots from that. So I'll be going through that. I would love them to reread the books. Rachel's talked about, apparently she has to like get the rights back from something in order for them to redo it. I don't love full cast audiobooks. I find them really distracting, but I can't stand the audiobook for Heated Ride. It's the look, I get that Russian accents are very hard, but that the choices being made was tough. So the one time I was like, maybe I'll listen to it. No, thanks. I got like halfway through and was like, ugh. It's also like we're on the live, so no one get mad about. I don't think the syntax and the dialogue quality are the best things about those books, and so it's hard. It's hard to listen. I think the reading experience was much better because you're getting a lot of the other elements that come along with reading. And also, like, Rachel Reed is really, really good at character, and she's really good at plot, and she's quite good at inherent conflict. And I don't think that her writing style is my particular cup of tea, which is fine because a lot of people love it. And that's also why I'm very like, season 2 is going to be interesting. I don't know how you adapt it in the same. It's also like not nearly as like there's so much more time being covered in the first season. I don't know. It's that thing where like just I try not to get ahead of myself in terms of like getting nervous about shows or anything because it's just it'll be what it'll be, and like I don't have any fucking control over it. And if season 2 is not nearly as like lightning in a bottle as season 1, like that's fine. We got season 1, you know what I mean? Like um it'll never be taken away, so that's okay. um okay, yeah, okay, here's the thing. I think Rachel Reed is getting a lot of undue criticism, and Jacob Tierney's getting a lot of credit, which I think he deserves a lot of credit, but I think it's becoming a lot of like, thank God a man took over a woman's writing. And so okay. I find Rachel Reed's writing style to be quite repetitive and obvious. So there's like a scene that sticks out for me where Ilya's talking about like, I don't want to go back to Russia. Russia's cold. This is what this is. I want a big house with a lot of fancy cars, and that won't heal me inside. Like, it's very direct. Like, you can't get past the syntax because it's like a brick in the middle of the page of just telling you over and over what the character is thinking and wants. And I think that's why, like, I really love that they didn't do anything with internal monologue in this show. They never brought up both of them constantly being like, I should break up with him. I should break up with him. Cause it's just like not that fun to like read that all the time. Like, and we're getting in the book, we're also getting the contrast of like how desperate they are about each other and like how much Ilya wants to like really be let into Shane's life. And so like, it makes sense that like he's wildly oscillating between the two. But yeah, they're easy to read. They're not difficult books to like, there's no subtext. It's all text. Like it's all there. And sometimes it just feels like if she had had a stronger editor. I really think the thing with modern publishing that's a bummer for me is just that like there's not a strong editor for a lot of it, and that creates a situation where like the characters just have to be repetitive instead of like being in the moment, if that makes sense. But I really, again, I think she's got a lot of great strengths. Yeah, this is the thing is like these books came out in a very particular way. They were like, it's a miracle they exist. Like it was very much self-published, little tiny public. Like it's not, and I know that like the long game was like she felt quite rushed on it and things like that. So like I don't want to judge her writing for what it is. But it's this thing where like there's some tendencies that certain authors have where you can tell they wrote a lot of fanfic, and one of them is the phrase Jesus fuck. And I was surprised it didn't pop up in Heated Rivalry, and I was like, hey, she escaped it, she did it, she got through it without mentioning my literally like I recoil when I read it line. And then I cracked into the long game, and it was like right there on page like 100. I was like, fuck. Like, there it is, my least favorite thing in the world that every fanfic author forever and ever has included in it. And yeah, I mean, I think writing is subjective, and I bring a lot of judgment to reading. In general, I try not to, but I'm also a writer, and so like I do understand just how difficult it is to actually do any of the things that she's doing, and like romance is tough, and the thing about Rachel Reed is like she can write a really good sex scene. Like her smut is good. It is horny and good, and I think that is a really underrated skill. I think her supplements for the stories really like wildly vary for me in terms of quality and how much I enjoy them. Like I really like she has a really good one about Ilya in the bathroom in Vegas, and like that one's great. And I think it's really well written. I think it explores a lot of character stuff. I think it adds a lot to understanding like what's going on in the bathroom scene. And then she has the My Dinner with Hayden supplement, and I really don't like it at all. I think it doesn't feel in character to me. It feels cruel on kind of everyone's part. And then during the smut, she has Shane say pretty please, and it just completely took me out of it, and I was like, no. Like, the one thing I usually find super redeeming about your writing is your smut. Like, why would Shane say this? And so that was my reaction to that. And then she had like another supplement that was based on like, I don't, it felt like there's another one where they're like apart and they watch something together, and it's like girls like Ilya gets sent porn by Marley, and it's like girls counting down with like a vibrator inside of them, I'm sure. And it reminded me of like, there used to be a series, and the only one I can remember who was starring in it was Stoya, but there used to be a series of like women reading with a vibrator, and like just, and they would have to read out loud as they were made. And so like that was porn that was sent to me at one point. And so I was like, yeah, like that I thought was a very good supplement. And I was like, yeah, she's a really good horny writer. And she has a 100 countdown where like Shane calls Ilya and like does it. And it's good. It's very good. I think that like some of her supplements really great, some of her writing really great. Not across the board for me, but that's fine. That's good. I like that I can be critical of things and still enjoy them. Yeah, it was it was great. I know I never Stoya started her own female focused porn site with someone else, and I don't remember what it was called or how that went. But yeah, I think like the thing is, I don't find Shane to be a particularly like well-written character overall in the books. I think despite the fact that he is kind of like the main character in many ways, like even in the book that I would say Ilya is the main character in, Shane is still the one like kind of driving all of the action. Um I do usually, unless because the thing is like they're supposed to be work with me videos, but then I stop doing work at a certain point and just start chatting. So sometimes I don't archive them in the same place, but they're all in a playlist called Work with Me, I think. And I should honestly chapter them, and then I'll feel like less weird about it. It'd just be like after a certain point, it's just me yapping. I meant to do it tonight. I did 40 minutes of work. Which was good because it's a Saturday and I got a bunch of stuff done, and I'll finish doing this when I'm off the live, and then go to bed because I have to wake up early because I have to film a course tomorrow morning, and then I have work from noon to 2 reviewing a bunch of the work that I did this week, and then I have to make advertising videos for my workshops, which have been being signed up for from people online, so that's fucking cool. Um, Thank you. Tomorrow. It should be good. The person that I'm meeting with to review all my work is my sister, so I get days off when I have money. Right now, I'm working for myself, so the answer is like no, which has been hell this week. But it's okay. It's gonna work out. Everything's gonna be fine. I'm gonna get some client workshops next month and the month after, and then I have a big conference in June that I have to fly to Santa Fe for. Ugh. So I have like a bunch of maintenance stuff to do, but I believe everything is gonna work out, and I just need to like focus on getting my thoughts coherently out there so that people can understand what the point of my business is, which like sounds so obvious. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing a conference for like school administrator leader people in June, so I have to fly to New Mexico, which, ugh, whatever. I hate flying. It's not. I don't hate flying. Flying's fine. Um, I live in New York, so it's like easy. Um, it's easy to fly out of here at least, so not too bad. And I don't have to take a connecting flight. Um, always good to learn new slang. It is interesting to me getting I get a lot of comments, not on YouTube as much, but on TikTok from people who assume that I'm like 22. And I'm like, no, like, what are you talking about? Like, I have gotten so many condescending comments being like, sweetie, when you're in your 30s, you'll understand. And I'm like, I'm 33 years old. Like, what are you talking about? I just have huge fucking cheeks. But I do think this week I have aged like 10 years. My face is so sunken from all the sobbing. It's fine. We're gonna be fine. Um, Thank you. Yeah, I think it's like it's this funny thing where like millennials are being accused of like we look so young, so I like never want to say anything. And then I'm just like I get carded, like I don't understand. And I got one time like recently I got carded at a bodega, and I was so shocked that the guy was like, "What? Like what's happening?" And I was like, "I used to buy like I couldn't say this, but I was like, I used to buy beer here when I was 19 years old. Like, what the fuck are you talking? What are you talking about? What bodega is carding you?" Like, um, when I was 19, I wasn't getting carded. So like, was I a hard 19 or am I just like a soft 33? Like, what's happening? Um, we used to have to make one of my roommates wait outside because she looked 16. But like I did too. I've had cheeks this big since I was a child. Um, it was hell because like I lived in New York City and then I would go upstate for college, and upstate I couldn't drink at all because I was underage again. Um, it is so funny. Yeah, I think like the 30s stuff is so funny. I don't mind people like I get it a lot from people who book me because they'll be like, "You say you've been doing this for 10 years? Like, what were you 13 when you started?" And I'm like, "Haha, no." Um, but it's fine. Like, people, the thing is, like, I don't know. I have friends who are like, "Well, people think I'm stupid because I'm pretty, and people think I'm stupid because I'm whatever." And I'm like, people think, like, the thing is, like, it's because we're women. People will just always underestimate your intelligence. If you're a woman, it's fine. Um, and that feels true for me whenever I get comments but like you look so young. I'm like give me 10 minutes and you're gonna be like you won't you'll stop doubting my authority. Give me 5 minutes to intro this fucking workshop, it'll be fine. So I've learned to ignore it professionally, and personally it's fine. Who doesn't, like, whatever, it's fine. Youth is not the point. But thank God I've never felt pressure to spend money on medical procedures because everybody I know is just like fucking miserable. Um, oh God, I should I should focus more on long form content and making long form, but I get so obsessed with editing it that I think I like scare myself before I start. But I should talk about the hand touching. The thing is like you should take the workshop. It's a good workshop. I mean, it is a good workshop. I wouldn't be selling it if I didn't believe in it. it it breaks down basically like how to engage groups, which is really like I can give you a sneak peek of it. It's this. Most meetings default to happening out loud and with the full group, and you just have to change one or both of these factors to change how people are interacting and contributing, and then um, you get a lot more interactions and contributions. The workshop is linked in my like on my YouTube page. It's like in my link tree. It's called like the Fix Your Meetings workshop series. It's also if you go to any of the videos where I'm talking about workshops or productivity, it's in the description of that. You can also go to. I don't think it's on my website. I should put it on my website. Let's put it on my website right now. Ooh, hoo, hoo. I have to transfer some guests over. Where the fuck? Here we go. Is this gonna be, that's not the right link, is it? Come here, kitty. What are you doing? Yeah, I think my thing with short form is I make a lot of it because it's really easy. Like it's not my preferred way of communicating necessarily. It's much more like it's what it's literally so easy for me to just turn on a camera and talk for a minute. Like actually nothing has ever been like more more my style. Um, Winter offering. Sign up here. This is not my best SEO work, but fuck it. Who cares? It's just to get people into the thing. Okay. So if you want the workshop, you can also now go to themeetingmedic.com and sign up for it. Okay. Let's see. Dee. Yeah, I think the thing about like making content and like long form versus short form is more that I am a long form thinker. Um, I am, thank you. I'm very proud of the Meeting Medic name. It is copyrighted. It was the only thing I bothered doing when I opened this business. I love, the thing is like, I, short form is good for me because I am really yappy. So it's great because I try to keep it really concise, and that's helpful. Like for me as a person who tends to over explain or go in different directions. So that's very helpful. Short form is great for containing me and kind of also it was just easy to do. So like it was really easy to turn on my camera and make them. So I didn't mind doing it a lot. And that was really helpful for growing an audience. Like, especially like I only really started uploading to YouTube like a month and a half ago or something. I've been on TikTok since October. And I used to have much longer, like my TikTok videos on average were like 3 to 5 minutes every single time, but just in vertical. And it was mostly about Gilmore Girls. And I can talk for, I mean, I forget that other people aren't just talkers and don't have the thing of like, when do I shut up? And so I feel like it's been good for me to try to contain it and try to keep it in under 60 seconds and like learn how to do the hooks and stuff like that. And I think with long form, there's a lot more chance to talk about like the connections and the references and the callbacks and do a lot more like visual. And it feels, the thing about short form is that you really have to resist feeling flashy, if that makes sense. Like I think there's a lot of pressure there. I don't know. It's very interesting for me to experience the things that I'm like, oh, I get why creators do this. I get how you could lean into this. Like I have my most viewed video on TikTok by far is a take I had about Taylor Swift at 3 a.m. when I was really high. And her everybody got mad at me for it. Every single one of her fans. It didn't matter if they thought she was gay, straight, didn't matter. Everybody was mad at me. And that was a very weird thing to go viral for because I didn't really believe in what I had said. And like I did, but I said it clunkily, whatever. And I was like, oh, at this point, I could lean into this. Like if I wanted to grow my TikTok as fast as possible, I could just make somewhat semi-controversial, under-researched videos about Taylor Swift, and I would gain so many followers so fucking quickly. And it was right there. It was so available to me. TikTok was pushing me like bonkers that fucking week. Anytime I made anything that week, it got so many more views. And I could understand how people get addicted to it and get addicted to doing the bad takes. But I think like this sounds so like, it sounds really grandiose to say because the thing that I'm making videos about is so specific. But I think that like, specificity and thoughtfulness are really important to me. And so like thoughtfulness is one of those things that is it's an abstract concept, but just making people think a little bit deeper about anything to me is beneficial, because I think the world is operating on such a surface level thing right now, because a lot of the things that we need to think about are so horrific that our brains are like, and we're not doing that. We're going to protect ourselves. So I think like the things about like media literacy that have been popping up, and just like what I've been exposed to just from people interacting with my videos, and like not being able to grasp like super basic concepts. Um, yeah, I think the like the little doing things wrong to get views, having typos in order for people to correct you, like all of these are just like cheap tricks. Like um and now I want you to want me stuck in my head, but like it's just hacks, you know what I mean? And I feel like the thing that humans can always tell is quality. Like we can literally look at a garment, and even if you have no knowledge of fabric or construction, you can tell when something is 100% wool versus when it's polyester. And so I think that like we do have a discernment for talent, we do have a discernment for quality. And when you see people that are making like low quality, low effort um stuff, they get low quality, low effort community out of it. Like it's the thing where like you don't want a million people to subscribe to you if half of them don't, you know what I mean? Like I don't know. There's such a focus on numbers, and there's such a narrow definition of like what we think success is. And then you go into any like deep advertising stuff, and it's like you need 100 true fans. You need 100 people who will buy anything you put out. You need 100 people who will tell their friends about you. You need 100 people, and it's not a million. You cannot. That is too much. That's too large. And I feel like the 100 true fans thing is also like what an incredible thing to curate. What, like, I think we focus so much on large numbers that like small numbers become really abstract. And like when the Taylor Swift thing was happening, it was so funny because I could tell that I was saying like I'm going a little bit viral right now. But I don't like to use the word viral because I don't know, it's just so what I end up saying usually when I'm having conversations with people in my real life who like do not know anything of what I do online, I usually say like, oh, one of my videos is kind of popping off right now, because when it's happening, it's like actually kind of terrifying, because you open up your app and like things keep crashing because you're getting so many notifications and whatever. And I feel like people were like, oh, that's cute, you think you're like blowing up. And I'd be like, yeah, no, I posted this video yesterday and it got like 850,000 views overnight. Like, I don't know how else to describe that. But until they heard a certain number, it like wasn't real to them that like this was happening, or like why I would be impacted by that. And I feel like it's, to me, I'm like 10,000 people watching something is not like, there's actually like, even just if I went to 100 people and told them one thought I had about heated rivalry, that would take a week. Like I would have to find 100 people to talk to. And I put one out on here, and within hours, thousands of people have seen me say something that like I probably stand by. But like I make these videos so fast sometimes that like sometimes when people correct me, I'm like, yeah, you're totally like I try not to take it personally at all, because I'm like, yeah, I'm just a person who's like jabbering. I didn't fact check myself. I didn't do research. But yeah, the numbers game is really nuts to it, because like there's so much that goes into it, and so like there's so many videos that have been like quote unquote like my most successful videos, especially on TikTok, that are not deep, and that's why they're successful. And I'm like, well, I'm gonna continue to try to make the deeper shit, even though it's like slightly less popular. And like I'm saying this about a show that I'm like, it's not that deep. Like it is, but it's also like, I don't know, it's there's something, I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, life's weird. The internet's funny. Um, but yeah, I think there's a real like low effort nature to culture right now. And a lot of that is stemming from the fact that a lot of culture is being made for people who have low reading comprehension. And that is not the fault of the people. It is the fault of the education system. It's like, it's a much bigger thing than it doesn't fall to the individual. However, because the collective is made up of individuals, the fact that low effort, not non unintelligent, I would even go as far to say, content that is a lot of like what babies react to, of like loud people screaming and bright colors and like a group of guys going like, "Wah!" Like it, all of that kind of like the streamer stuff of today. But I also just think like it's so fascinating to me, that like, yeah, I think fault is interesting, and like blame, because the thing is like some people are some a lot of people who are not intellectual, who do not seek out like more information for themselves, who do not educate themselves, like we have to understand how much of that comes from shame, and like they're in like not wanting to feel stupid is like a very basic human thing. And so like I do a lot of adult education about meetings. Everybody has been to a meeting, and most people who attend these have planned meetings, and I have to make sure that everything I'm saying about meetings they know is not a personal attack on them, because otherwise they will not listen to me for the rest of the thing, because they'll be coated in shame and like they'll just shut down and resist. And so a lot of people, when they like, newspapers are not written at a reading comprehension level that most Americans can understand, and the New York Times is also bad. So like where are people supposed to get unbiased news now? And it's like, oh well, they could read this, they could read the BBC, they could read whatever. And it's like those news articles are written at too high of a reading comprehension level for them to engage with. And so like there is a thing where like we do need to actually simplify information for people until they can get a firm enough grasp and understanding in order to like advance them along the ranks. Like I really do think that like, yeah, there's been a huge underemphasis on like actually understanding what your own research is, because you can get confirmation for everything. And the thing about like, I see somebody mention plot stuff. Like, I have gotten so frustrated, a few times, not with the YouTube comments, but like TikTok comments are a different beast. I always end up talking about this on these lives. I'm cracking myself up. Okay. There are so many people who will sit there and tell me, but literally this is what happened and you're saying something else. And it's like, yeah, what I'm pointing out is a literary device and not plot. But everybody is so literal now that they're like I had to make several videos about the bartender not being bad at his job, but rather just being a representative of a narrative storytelling device, because everybody was like, fuck that bartender, he should be fired. And it's like, that's not what's happening. And I'm worried that everybody thought so much that like it wasn't just a reaction of like, I hate this character or this character bothered me. It was like, this character is bad at their job. And it's like, that's not, that's not what's happening here. The ginger ale isn't ginger ale. I don't know, like it, and I don't know. I've talked about this before, but like I think a lot of millennials don't get on camera because we came up, and like I think millennials and older, we have like a larger resistance to being imperfect looking on camera because we did not grow up in a time where people were casual about their appearance on camera. And it's fascinating to me that within like 5 years we were able to create a consumer class of people who are willing to falsely engage with creators like advertisements in order to boost that. Like, we've created an entirely new way to consume based on influencers. So influencers can literally get on their platforms and say like, haha, like I got a brand deal, make sure you like and engage. And like when people go on Love Island and people who are watching at home, like the people on Love Island, what they're hoping for, like they're like, one day my favorite influencer will get a brand deal. Like, what a weird thing to engage with for someone who you don't know. Like, the advertising taking over the world has happened in so many ways, but I think that like creating a class of consumers who watch short form video content and then want those creators to make money off of advertising, and that's seen as like a mutual benefit to both of these people. It's just really interesting to me. I'm I don't I don't get I don't get it. I've never had loyalty to an internet stranger to the point that I'm like, yeah, I'll buy that lip gloss you wore. Like, I don't know. I yeah, like it's the get that bag, it's the like liking and interacting for you, queen. Like it's very like, ugh. What do you mean you're proud of someone because they got a brand deal with a beauty company? Like, ugh. And then we have to have so many conversations about like women can advertise for beauty products and still be feminist. And it's like, I don't know, man. I don't know that you can. I, I have a joke in my set about like, I don't know, the second wave feminists fought really, really hard for us to have our own bank accounts. I don't know that they thought we'd be spending so much of our very own money on medical procedures to make us look younger and more fuckable, but you can't always, you win some, you lose some, I guess. And like modern feminism is just like, ugh, thousand yard stare. And that's kind of the stuff that I'm like, okay, like if I'm gonna do this, if I'm gonna be here and online and trying to talk about things that I actually care about, um, I need to start incorporating more stuff and not just like doing little flippant things about Susan Sontag. Um, I do stand up at open mics and I've posted some stand up to the internet before and I just don't love posting clips. I don't have clips of mine that I love. I have a lot of voice memos. And yeah, I think the thing like parasocial is such an interesting thing because like what does parasocial actually mean and what is the boundary that people are trying to create? Because like right now, like I am talking to everyone who's talking to, you know what I mean? Like I don't want this to feel like I'm not just another person. I think like and like I don't see everyone as people. Like it's parasocial because like they're but it's not, I don't know. I think I don't know that I have a great grasp on what parasocialism is actually defined as in this age where I do have conversations with people over email, over DM, over whatever, and I do know a little bit about them. Like, because to me, like then that's not so much parasocial anymore. It's just kind of like broadly social. But I also understand that I'm not trying to curate that on my end. Like, I don't put out videos where I'm trying to make people feel certain ways about me. Um, Yeah, I think like the size and scale really does matter, and I think that's why like a lot of people who are fans of creators very early on do feel a very large sense of like not even ownership, but just like protectiveness and things like that, because they've been in the more intimate settings. I don't know. I talked about this during my critique of Taylor Swift week, because I think that Taylor genuinely should be studied in her modern use of fandom and how she got fans to behave certain ways online in order to potentially have access to the secret sessions, because there became a thing of like self-policing within her fandom because you wanted to never say anything bad about her publicly, because if you did you wouldn't be invited to her apartment. And like the people who did those secret sessions, like a lot of them still are milking that for fandom points. And like fandom's also interesting. I don't know. I've talked about this a little bit before. Like I've always been a lurker and I've never gotten involved in a fandom. Like I've been around, but very much like not part of it in the same way. I think somebody the other night coined the term, oh fuck, what is it? Pop anthropologist, pop culture, fanthropologist. There we go. See, write everything down. And so I really enjoy like looking at how fans interact with things that they love. So it has become funny to me to become a fan who is interacting with something that she loves, in a very specific way. But yeah, okay. I will write your name down and credit you because I did not write down the person who commented tuna meltdown. Um, and I regret that every time. Tuna meltdown is truly one of my favorite things that has ever been said to me in a comment section. I think it's so fucking funny. And also, extremely, I don't know, I think, what blog was it? Um, like the first time I watched Heated Rivalry, I watched 1 through 5 in one sitting. Um, and I think it was like December 24th or something. I was writing smoke at the time. I was writing my 25 Days of Smokemas blog series where I wrote a blog every single day, December 1st through 25th. So at one point, I did rank all of the tuna melts that I ate in 2025 because I don't. This is a fun fact about me. I fucking love a tuna melt. This isn't a tuna melt, but the place that I used to get my favorite tuna melts stopped doing tuna melts. Um, so this was the first thing I ever wrote about Heated Rivalry. Yeah, 25 days of Vlogmas. I'll never do it again. It was fun. I'll probably do 12 again. I did 12 days of Smokemas the year before because okay, so I have a thing where every year I publish 52 blogs, and it used to be that I did it every week on Fridays, but I publish 52 blogs a year. And last year on Smoke Show, I was 25 blogs short on like November 28th or something. And the thing about that is that I wasn't actually short on my goal because I published a blog every single week on the Meeting Medic Substack. It just wasn't the Smoke Show blog, but I am pedantic and very weird about deadlines. So I decided that I was going to publish 52 on Smoke Show, and so I wrote 25 in a row. And I was staying up really late to write them all, which was the part that was probably not worth it. That was when the Taylor Swift take happened. I was so burnt out by the end of December. But it was fun, and I started writing them on live, which was also fun. That's a funny line. My intro to all of them is, anyway, here's Wonderwall. Good job, me. Sometimes I read my own writing and I'm amused. And yeah, I think it is funny. I don't know. It's funny when you write and people then get to know your voice and then realize that your writing sounds exactly like you talk. Because that's what happens to me anytime I'm texting with someone new. I'm like, oh, we shouldn't text a lot before we meet up for this date because you're not gonna get what I'm saying. I type exactly like I fucking talk. Tuna salad's not for everybody. I don't like whitefish salad, so that's a fun. Love tuna, hate whitefish. They are kind of unappealing, but they are so good in certain contexts. Like, I can't tell you how good a tuna melt on a bagel is with a ton of red onions. Like, I do think this is one of those like certain like when my Scandinavian friends are like, just eat some herring with some toast. I'm like, bleh, bleh, how could you ever eat that for breakfast? But like my big running gag for 2 years was that I would call a tuna melt and a Diet Coke the breakfast of champions. So yeah, I mean, hey, the worst high snack I ever made was like, oh my God. This was during Occupy Wall Street, and my friend, I had driven down to New York to hang out with a friend, and a couple friends had driven down with me. They met up with a friend who like was at the protest but didn't have a place to stay. They all ended up coming to stay at my friend's apartment. My friend and I got so stoned, and we were watching Happy Endings, and we made like tuna salad with just like tuna and mayo, and that was it. There was like no vegetables in the house, and we put them in tortillas, and then I like fried the tortilla a little bit like shut, and then we had like mini queso dips from Tostinos, and we dipped the tuna melt in that. It was horrific. But we were so broken, we were so hungry, and we were so stoned, so it was like perfect. But yeah, this is like it's funny to me. I don't know. It is funny to me that people don't realize that I'm a stoner. I also do stand up about this. Like, I have narc face. Nobody's ever offered me drugs. I look I look like I look like a narc. And so when I'm stoned, people never expect it. And so there was a comment like, and this was truly one of the only mean comments I've gotten on YouTube, and it wasn't that mean. Was just like, can't you fucking talk normally? Why are you always laughing? And I'm like, I'm laughing because I'm stoned. Like, and also I just think this is silly, goofy, and like life is for living. But I am like, my blog is called Smoke Show because the whole point was that I got high and watched things. Like my number one blog on there for a long time was like I took an edible and watched Get Back. But my tolerance is like spooky high because I have been smoking pretty chronically since I was like 19. And so I like launched a rolling paper company at one point that my friend still runs. I co-launched it with her, but I came up with the name. Um, and like it's just very funny to me because like sometimes people are very just funny about not knowing that even when my eyes are like so bloodshot, like they're like, why is this girl laughing at herself? And it's like, I don't know, maybe the smoke curling out of frame could be a hint to you that something is being held pretty distinctly off camera right now. Sometimes my arms are like extended in strange ways during my shoots, and now you know why. It's because there is a joint actively being lit. Um, it's not a joint; it's a spliff. I don't smoke joints. Um, yeah, yeah. As my friend has always said, I'm a high functioning stoner. Um, That's fair. I don't, my anxiety is completely quelled by it, but I know that that's not true for everyone. If you are interested in like anxiety stuff, you can do non-psychoactive um, weed. So you can do like weed that has no THC that's just high in CBD or CBN. There's a lot of things with cannabinoids that you can get into if you're interested, but also like no pressure ever. Yeah, that's fair. I got hired at Keels, and then they drug tested me, but they had already put me on the floor before my drug test results came back in. So then they fired me because I tested positive for weed, which I knew I would, but I still gave it the old college try of like not smoking for 2 weeks and drinking a ton of water. But they had to pay me because they had put me on the floor, but they couldn't pay me because I was a drug because I had failed my drug test. So I think I got like $300 worth of Keels in product. Um, and she just sent me random shit. Um, I did not. The thing is, like, when I looked up the chart for like how long it would take to get the weed out of your system, it was like you smoke like once a week, once a month, like multiple times a day. And I clicked the multiple times a day, and it was like it's gonna take you a year. And I was like, yeah, like I should have done fake piss. Like if I really cared, I would have, but I didn't think that it was gonna be that big of a deal. And yeah, so that's how I ended up getting a shit ton of Kiehl's products for kind of free. I did have to work for them, but it was kind of nice. And like the first day of work, they were like, just take a bunch of free stuff home. So I had like a closet full of Kiehl's. And so for like that entire year, I was broke, but my friends were getting really nice gifts. The thing about Kiehl's is that it's actually like not that nice. Creme de Coeur is some of the best. But yeah, Kiehl's drug tests because they got bought by L'Oreal, and I didn't know that they were bought by L'Oreal. I thought they were still an independent company, but they weren't. They also have a line of horse shampoo because they're rich. The other funny thing about getting fired for testing positive for weed was that I was in Oregon in 2014, and that was the year that weed became legal. So, you know, you never know. Now it's legal in New York. I moved back to New York City when it was still illegal, and it was such a downgrade going from like legal dispensaries to whatever New York had for years and years. Although their dispensaries are getting better. Like the prices are still nuts. I used to be able to get an ounce for like $100 in Portland, and it was magical. um, but that was also when, like, I don't know, like me and my ex were like absolute stoners. I did not enjoy Portland. I was there for 4 years. I worked in pet stores. I had a really nice job my last 2 years there. I loved my coworkers. I did not jive with the vibes. I'm way too uptight. Um, I have too much energy for West Coast people. I didn't enjoy being referred to as a transplant. And like kind of, I don't know, it was interesting. Like when we visited Portland, everybody was so nice and was like giving us like lists of places to eat and visit. And then when we moved there, everybody was like, oh, another fucking transplant. And I was like, okay, like that's not fun. That's not cool. That's not nice. My ex was heavily involved in the noise musician scene. So like I was going to a lot of noise shows. And a lot of the people who I was around like never remembered me. Like they wouldn't even introduce themselves to me, but they would just like act like they didn't know me. Like I dated my ex for like we were together for 7 years. It was so weirdly dehumanizing. And I felt like a lot of them used the excuse of like being socially awkward, but I was like, but now you're being socially awkward in a way that's making me feel socially awkward. Like, do you see how that's happening? So that was really hard. I really loved my job and I loved my coworkers, but I missed New York City. Like I love New York City so much. It's the only place in America I ever want to live again. If I don't stay in New York, yeah, that's the thing is like I'm socially awkward. You know what I mean? Like, but I'll still smile, shake your hand, and like remember your name. Um, yeah, and like the thing about Portland was just like I was being called a transplant by people who had moved there like 2 years before me. And I was just kind of like, like in New York there's a huge discussion about gentrification in New York and transplants and whatever. I've lived in New York for like a total of 10 years now. Um and and I think that like there's a lot but the thing about cities is like cities are supposed to have people move to them. That's the point of cities. Not everybody in a city was born in the city. The city is for people to go to who don't want to live in the suburbs. Or rural, because we didn't used to have suburbs. Suburbs are a new thing. The ennui that we have put upon all of the people who live in the suburbs was only invented in like the 50s by a bunch of racists. Like we need to remember the origin of levee towns. Um, and so like cities are really important. And I'm a city girl. I was raised in a city. Like I was raised in Dublin, Ireland. I did not like when we lived in small towns. I was always much more into the city vibe. So very much New York or nowhere for me in terms of America. I think if I move, I would move to, I don't know that I would move back to, like, I love Ireland, but like, it's a small, it's a small place. Dublin is a city of like 1 million people and it's pretty fucking small. Um, but I don't know where else I would really love to be. I don't love London. I do love Amsterdam. I really enjoy Berlin, but I don't know that I'd want to live in Berlin. So, um, Montreal is very cool. If you can move to Montreal, you totally should. Montreal is like just a great city. I really love Montreal. The old quarter is really cool. I've been to like my favorite concerts I've ever been to. A lot of them were in Montreal. Going to high school in Vermont was interesting because like Montreal was so close, and at a certain point, your friends all turned 18 and you wanted to go party. And like I had a friend who went to McGill. I had a friend who went to Bishop's, so like I would go up and visit them. And there used to be a really good festival up in Montreal every summer. This is how you can tell I'm a millennial. That I it wasn't Outerlands. Fuck. It's where I saw it was like they would get the same lineup as Sasquatch when Sasquatch's lineup was really good back in the day. Yeah, Montreal's I could not. It's so funny to me that a bunch of people learned about McGill from this show, and that McGill was getting disparaging remarks because like McGill is so hard to get into. Like, McGill is such a good school. And so it's very, I'm sure that a lot of people are going to get a lot of wow, McGill memes. Cause like a lot of people who go to McGill are kind of dicks about going to McGill. Not everybody, but some of them. It's kind of like Cornell that way. Life is for living, and you should go where you're happy. And moving is something that seems really, really hard to do until you do it, and then everything tends to work out. Um, so I encourage people to move and find themselves, and you'll find spaces. And um, yeah, I don't know. I was really lucky to have friends who lived in New York, so I could just like move in with them and then find a place. But there's so many ways that you can do it, and not everything is a scam. And moving internationally, like, yeah, I don't know. It's a little more complicated, but it's honestly like it's not that much more complicated. Like at a certain point, everything is just logistics. Everything is just like where does the crate go? Um, yeah, I mean the West Coast is wild too because every time you move house, it's like you have to screw all your bookshelves in because what if the big one comes? I'm like, if the big one comes, I don't know that the bookshelf is going to be the thing that takes me out. I think it's going to be the other stuff, the other things that happen in the earthquake. Um, oh, I'm losing it. I'm getting loopy. Yeah, I'm gonna make a video about the hands. I'm gonna make some short form about there's like a bookend I realized today of like it's because I knew that Shane said holy shit in episode 1 and the cottage, but Ilya also says fuck Hollander in episode 1 when Shane goes down on him for the first time, and he says it or no, he doesn't say it when he goes down on him, he just says it when he like takes off his shirt. And then he says it again after the I love yous at the cottage. So I'm gonna make some bookend things about that. Um, and I should write down ideas. I haven't written ideas down in a long time. And I don't even think I ever went through my I don't think I ever went through my notebook. Where is that notebook? Oh God. Um, this is I found the notebook. This is my friend named all of the presidents in order, and then we went through. And at one point, um, she had given them all a weed nickname. And then this is the heated rivalry video ideas that I don't think I've even made like an eighth of these. Um, at a certain point, I started tracking who was leaving who. Um, is this the first towels mention? Might be the first towels mentioned. This feels like an ancient text. Um, oh, this started at the cottage. Interesting. Okay, I stand by this. Ilya would let Rose watch him and Shane have sex. Uh, and Ilya sends videos of himself smoking. Um, the tuna melt, you know what? Tuna melts are a great background. That's not, this is one of the better tuna melts that I've had. This was probably the best one. But with this one, I made these. I don't know that I agree with myself that He would let her. Okay. I think he would let her watch one because he's possessive, but also because he would want to defend Shane's honor that Shane is not bad at sex. Um, da 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 da. Yeah, a lot of this just seems really obvious now, and I'm like, yeah, because I've talked about it in some form. I like that I took the time to write the sentence Shane Hollander is really fucking good at sex and it's canon. That boy studied and he had some tricks. And I believe that because the thing is, I mean, this was also part of the stand up that I've done about the show, but I think like blowjobs are an interesting thing for a show to focus on and feature. Uh, Here's the thing. I think everybody I've talked to's enjoyed watching them. So why wouldn't she? You know what I mean? Um, I would he let anyone? Um, Miles would. Miles would do it. Here's the thing. I think I think on the right night, a lot of people will do things that they wouldn't do on other nights. Like there are plenty of examples that I have had in my personal history of people doing shit that like here we'll have shirtless Shane saying thank you for tuning out this background. A lot of people do a lot of freaky shit that they don't think they'd do otherwise. But they do it because it's the moment, it's the drugs, it's the everybody said it was okay. Yeah, but you know what? This show stars millennials, and millennials still kind of are. Um, and I feel like I don't know. It's also that thing of like this show is about like it does have a queer couple at the center of it. It is not about like necessarily queer culture for that most people experience because this is about being closeted because you play in the NHL. And so it's just like it's not the same like Ilya's not going to House of Yes. And there's I do think the sex negativity that has taken over culture is a real it's a real disappointing trend. And I do like that the show brought a lot of sexiness back and the sex scene discourse was very like non-involved in the show. Um, we don't personally know them, but I don't know. Like, part of me, I'm about to say a sentence, and I'm like, y'all never watched your friends fuck before? It's like I don't know. Like it's it's a younger thing, I think, to have seen as many people have sex as I have, because like we all lived in like one room kind of vibe. Like New York is just very much like you can think shit happens, you know? And so like, I don't think it would be like I don't think it would be like a formal thing if this was to happen. And we can also stop this headcanon at any time because it was just a joke. But I do think that like there's um there's a certain amount of like anything is possible in the right vibe with the right people. And it doesn't have to happen. Um, but I think that was more of a comment about Ilya and like what he would be willing to do than necessarily anyone. I don't think Shane would be up for letting people watch necessarily. I don't know. He might if Ilya tells him to do it, that might change things. Because that dynamic is very present in their relationship, but it's also that thing of like Shane's absolutely in control of that dynamic. God, I did not enjoy having blindfolds and headphones. Um, how Leo DiCaprio of him. I've heard the headphones thing is real. But yeah, I mean, I think Ilya would only suggest it if he thought Shane would actually be into it. I don't get any sense of like pressure, or like bad Dom vibes from, I mean, I guess episode 2, you could argue is not great. Not great aftercare. In fact, it's bad aftercare, you could say. The scene that launched 1,000 fics. Uh, lot of fix-its happening with that. But they're young. They're like 19 in that scene. They don't fully get it yet. Yeah, and here's it's good that we see what the consequences of not taking care of people, which is that they're sad, and they're almost texting things. Also, it's it's so much worse that when Shane asks, and if you win, Ilya kisses him, and then that night they don't kiss. That's the I feel like that is really it's like I was promised a very specific thing. I was actually given no verbal answer. I was only given one physical answer, and that did not occur. And now I am upset. He has every right to be upset, but also just like God, they're both just so sad. And for different reasons. Because it's also the thing of like the first time they hook up, like Ilya's kind of basking in the afterglow, and then Shane's like, "You're not gonna tell anyone," and it's like, of course, it's what he's worried about, but also like then Ilya feels like, "Oh right, like this guy doesn't fucking know me or trust me, like fuck." So episode 2 is really really devastating. The one time Ilya failed to deliver, absolutely. And hey, we can all forgive him for that and the 6-month gap because they're in love and it's fine. But yeah, if I had a friend who was going through that with someone, I would be like, I'm blocking their number. You should not see this person. They sound like an asshole. But there's also, I don't know, I think it's good discourse to talk about like the virginity of it all in episode 2 and the fact that like they have already had sex twice by the time that they've done that. Like oral sex is sex. Like who are we, Bill Clinton? Like Jesus Christ. But I do think like there is a buildup within the show narrative for Shane having anal sex for the first time. And so I do find it like a little bit disingenuous that people are doing the like, he's not a virgin. Like we discuss penetrative sex in a very different way than we discuss oral sex. A lot of oral sex is not counted in the same way. And like, I think we can have a discussion about why that is, and what it does mean when it's, but I think like the idea of virginity is also like a social construct. Like there's a larger thing happening, but I think people who are shortening what the extra devastation of to Shane was ghosted after losing his virginity to the guy. I don't think like that's an incorrect way to sum up the scene in this, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. And it would also be wild to be like his anal virginity every time you said it. Like that's an unnatural way to say things. Yeah, I think I don't know. I'm kind of torn. I like the 2-year break. I think it adds a lot to them, to the tenderness and kind of like the weight of that scene, that it has been a build up for 2 years, that Ilya was really persistent for 2 straight years, got got what he wanted ostensibly, and then never texted Shane for 6 months. Like I think that would be uniquely devastating versus just by like having the sex apartment building. Um which I do love. I do love the sex apartment. I like the extra yearning of Ilya being like, I really want to know what his bed looks like. I think budgetary reasons is probably why they didn't do it, but also like overly complicated, unnecessary for the show to necessarily do it. And I think like the cottage acts as that in certain ways because like that's also the intimacy that Shane's letting him into. Is like, this is my actual home. So I think it works. I think the getting after him for 2 years about this hookup and then ghosting is the crime that Ilya commits, and like Shane's is dating Rose. You know what I mean? Like it's the thing that like it's happening from a very sincere place of both of them freaking out about the books, or about each other. Um, I read the word books as I was talking. Um, yeah, the prologue for the book is one of the better sex scenes. Like, it's really, I was shocked that it started that way. I also think that the thing that they didn't carry over from the books that's very present in that prologue is Shane being like, I don't want him to look at me because I'm like ashamed, like I don't deserve to be looked at, basically. Like, Jesus Christ. Yeah, like Ilya freaks out because he realizes that like he has a lot of feelings and Shane has a lot of feelings. And that makes sense to me. And then like Shane freaks out for the exact same reason at the tuna melt scene. Um, yeah, the shame of shame, shame of Shane. They both have a lot of shame to deal with, and like I think that that's also interesting. I don't know. I had a lot of thoughts today about like the lack of kind of like geopolitical implications and like the actual effect of like both of their cultural history. Um, but that's a different thing. I don't actually want to get into it, because then we have to talk about Russia in a way that I don't really want to talk about. Um, but it is fun. Anytime people bring up the fact that Ilya is based on Ovechkin, I'm like, we don't have to talk about Ovechkin, okay? Like that man literally runs a Putin fan club. Let's not compare our boy. like, um, Yeah, I think the rivalry is the thing that is the most underplayed in the show in a way that does for me take away some narrative tension. And I will say one of my least favorite lines in the show is in episode 5 when Shane says, fucking your arch rival is like a whole different thing. I genuinely, it is a clunker. I'm so sorry. He delivers it with the most aplomb he possibly can. I don't think Shane would say the term arch rival. It sounds really unnatural to me. And the fact that that's one of the first scenes they filmed, to me, I'm like, yeah, I think if it wasn't day one, there might have been more pushback from the actors around it. Like, it's clunky. And like, I don't have a lot of problems with the dialogue in the show. For the most part, I think it's fine. I even like some of the things that I know other people find very cringe. Like, I like when they're doing the come here, no, you come here. I think that's like sweet. Um, but fucking your arch rival is tough. Yeah, I think that I don't know that I needed them to be like hateful. Like I don't. Yeah, I think I also love the Khmer moment. I think it's like it's their competitive nature, which I really like anytime it's on screen. Um, because I think I don't I like that they got rid of the internal monologue because I didn't need all of them being like, I'm confused about my feelings for this guy. Like, we can see their feelings for this guy, so we don't need that. We don't need them thinking about breaking up every 2 seconds. Um, but I do think that what we missed out on was a lot of the like, our careers will always be intertwined with each other. We're always going to be like racing each other towards the top, and like they will forever kind of be like in tandem. So I'm glad. I don't know. I wish we had gotten a little. The problem is, I wish we had gotten a little more hockey, because I think that the hockey is where the rivalry actually happens. And like what the face-offs and stuff. Like I think we get a lot of subtle moments. Like when right after the tuna meltdown, there's like where was Shane Hollander on the ice and where was Ilya Rozanov? Like we get a lot of like their fucking does affect their playing. Hayden even says like you always play better after you get laid. Um, yeah, someone also compared the voiceover to the first season of Outlander. Um, and I've never seen Outlander, but I would believe it. The only version of that I personally love that the show got rid of is in seasons 1 and the beginning of season 2 of Sex and the City. They have direct to cameras from Carrie, and I love it. And they change it to voiceover, and I always thought that the style was better when she just looked at the camera. Um, I think the show, honestly, okay. I think the show is telling a very different love story than the books. And I just mean that in like, they are telling a story of like two people like it's very soulmate vibes, and I think it is in the books too, but I think the books has a lot more internal resistance to it, and the show is very much like you're not, I don't know, I guess, like, I know that other people have said like, no, I was nervous. I know that romance, they get together at the end, so I don't need the conflict to be like, will they, won't they? And I think that's why the miscommunication does such a good job in this show. But I do think that the books have a lot more like actual strategy to like why they can't be together. Like the emphasis is very much on the inherent conflict, and the show doesn't emphasize the rivalry at all. Um yeah, I mean, the fucking chemistry they have is really, it's really incredible. Like, if we just want to watch their hands touch, we can do that because I have that. I have that ready to go. Like,
Introduce myself.
first meeting,
Good luck in the tournament.
second handshake.
You will not be so nice when we beat you.
How's that happening?
See you in final.
I love that wave. Wait, I want to get that look. 'Cause look at his little devious look. Like, um, yeah, I think playful rivalry. Yeah, it's the heat is them. You know what I mean? The heat is literally their relationship. It's their rivalry is not heated. I do think, like, we get the mention that they burn effigies of, like, their fans burn effigies of the other one. So like I do think there is, like, again, if there was more hockey, there might be like more booing, more signs, more whatever that like lets us know like Montreal and Boston, like, it's a really big deal. It would be scandalous if it came out that these two were having sex with each other because the fans hate the other one so much, and there's like a certain amount of, but I just find sports so silly goofy because like people get traded all the time. So like he's so amused. I mean, the thing about Ilya is like, okay, he meets this guy, he flirts with him in the very next scene. Tells him to see him at the draft. Like, then they look at each other across the room a bunch during their draft day. I don't know that this can actually, okay, well, let's do a poll. Does them bumping shoulders during the like put your numbers up, does that count as touching hands? Let's see if their hands ever touch. Do 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 do. Oh, I think they do. I think they do. Good Lord. Okay. Yep. They touch there. They touch there. And then we can also just keep watching because then they yearn across the room at each other. And that's one of my favorite tropes.
Oh, and just to be clear, we are thrilled that Shane is Asian Canadian. Very thrilled. We've historically broken barriers and we're doing it again, so nothing to worry about there.
You certainly have. And I mean, to be a part of the most legendary franchise in hockey. Oh my.
It's I'm still in shock, but I'm so excited.
Oh, he's trying his best.
And I'm just kidding.
Um,
Shane's interview, but I'm the world's biggest Astros fan. It's part of hockey.
yeah, let's yearn. And we're gonna cut it before Ilya's terrible father because I've seen that scene too many times. Okay, so they touch hands. Great. We've got another hand touching scene. Now none of my numbers make sense. Draft hands. Down, 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 down. Move into this folder. Okay. First handshake, second handshake, third handshake is there. Okay, so this is... I'm actually not going to change it. I'm just going to change it to 3.5. I don't want to renumber all of the other ones. Thank you, decimal points, for existing. The balcony, here's like, yeah, put them on different levels. Let's have Ilya literally be above Shane because he got drafted number 1. And so Shane is literally looking up at him, yearning for what he has. And he thinks Ilya is looking down on him. And in fact, Ilya is yearning for what Shane has, which is like 2 supportive parents. Ilya doesn't give a shit that Shane got number 2. Which is why in the gym when he's like, it was today everything you dreamed of, and Shane's like, almost. And it's like, it's so funny to me because like, I get that not being the number 1 draft pick like would be disappointing. You're number 2. Like that does suck, but it's also just so funny. Whoa, did that work? Okay, my phone died. I thought was happening. So is this actually still working? Oh my God, it is. Haha. We did it, everybody. I just can't use the microphone because the phone is now charging. Okay, good. We're back. Hi. Hi, why are you crying, kitty? Yeah, they want each other. They both can't communicate because of that. And also it's what draws them to each other so strongly is that like they are it's not like a missing piece thing. It's much more of like a catalyst-y vibe. Like there's so much to it. And yeah, very Romeo and Juliet. And I think that there's the idea of like them being very much like the missing puzzle piece of the other one, that they both like literally want what the other one has. Like when I think like one of the most heartbreaking moments for me in episode 1 is when Shane at the very end, like he's won something and he's like, all you do is beat me, to Ilya, because like that's emphatically not true. Shane scored more goals that season. He won Rookie of the Year. They both won the national juniors thing. So like there's no reason that Shane thinks he's like actually worse than Ilya. It's just that he's jealous that everything that is hard for him in terms of like social stuff and like the interviews and all of that, like he thinks that it's really easy for Ilya. He's also, he's never going to get over the draft because you can't redo that one. And the thing is like Ilya can never win Rookie of the Year because you only get one shot to do that too. And I like that we see Shane watching Ilya's interviews and kind of going like, what an asshole. But it's also that thing of like, Shane can't do that. That's not how Shane is ever going to interact with the media. And then we see Ilya watching Shane's interviews and going like, oh, he's Mr. Perfect, like in French. I mean, the thing about being a child prodigy is that it fucks you up. Like you don't ever get a sense of how to deal with adversity. You don't get I think you need to get good at not being good at things, especially if you're autistic. And he never had to. He got to do the thing that he loves the most and is the best at for his career. So dealing with someone who is as good as him is like a new thing. Oh And once again, I'll bring up center stage and like raise your hand if you were the best ballet dancer in the last class you took, and everybody raises their hand because suddenly you're in the majors. Yeah, like I think they're jealous of each other's charisma. So true. Um, yeah, Shane. Shane has a lot of admiration of a lot of skills of Ilya's. Yeah, I think like Ilya wants to be the good guy, Shane wants to be bad. Ilya having like a you like to be bad, and Shane saying like that's not what this is. Hasn't been for a while, but definitely was at the beginning, or definitely was a part of it. Yeah, I mean, I know that people. Okay, here's the thing about the tuna melt scene. If I was Shane, I also would have melted down. Are you fucking kidding me? Like it's been years of a certain type of interaction, and all of a sudden, all of the rules have changed. And we're having a conversation where you're bringing up the fact that you hook up with other people. Nightmare. Don't want to hear about it. Totally, like, whatever. And then and saying, like, every single compliment Ilya gives in that moment, he caveats with something devastating. And then he brings up the fact that he hooks up with a girl who knows, quote unquote, the most. She knows everything about hockey. That's Shane's thing. My cat is not she's not really available for photos. She's I'm like, can I show you this without there we go. There's my cat. Hi, sweetie. Why are you crying? You want to go to bed? It is late and I should probably go to bed. That's Weem. She cries. She doesn't meow, she cries. And it's, yeah, I mean, Shane does lose his mind. Hi, Weem. Hi. I would too. Like, I don't think it's fair to I think that with analysis a lot of people want to assign blame and fault. And I think with what the show does is that it has a lot of very good balance moments. So it's like the tuna melt has to, like, Shane has to leave because Ilya's already left. So they have to choose, they both get to choose each other again. And I think like what's interesting about their dynamic is that they haven't established like what their dynamic actually is. Like they're because to talk about it would be to talk about it. And so it's not that they're it's not that they're just fuck buddies. It's not that they're in an open relationship. Like there's just been no communication, which I just think is fascinating. And you know, makes sense because Shane's waiting for Ilya to do it and Ilya's waiting for Shane. Oh my God, it's almost 1 a.m. I have to go to bed. Because I have to wake up in the morning and do work. Because you don't get days off when you run your own business until your business is successful. It is an autistic nightmare. Everything is so unclear, and also the rules are changing really rapidly. Like, what do you mean? And also, someone making food for you is like one of the most intimate things that you can do. This is my problem, is that I will keep yapping. I will say that I need to go, and then I'll keep talking. Irish exits are great for me. But I think like having someone cook for you is an intimate thing. The fact that it's all like meal prepped is just like, ugh, but also like it happens because Svetlana points out that she thought it was serious. Like I really do think that until that moment of Svetlana being like, I thought it was serious. You've been texting for years. Ilya didn't realize that it probably should be serious and that they've been texting for years. But he also doesn't think it through because, like, then he at All Stars is like, we can't do this because I would never be able to go home. And it's like, but you were the one that you can Irish exit your own live stream. You can just hit exit. It's possible. Anything is possible if you're socially awkward enough. No, it's not social awkwardness. It's my inability to be quiet. I almost Irish exited earlier. It was just not my choice. It was my battery's choice and my constant ignoring of its warnings. Yes, yeah, she, her, for sure. Ilya operating on vibes. Yeah, he's not thinking it through. He just wants, he wants what he wants when he wants it. And that works for him. Doesn't work for Shane. Shane needs rules and he needs conversations, which is why by the time they get to the cottage, Ilya's like, all right, let's fucking try this again. And he barely improves. But like between Tuna Meltdown and Cottage, he barely improves. I have realized I'm gonna stay on while I vape a little bit because I'm going to bed. So time to get indica in my system. I did get a lot done earlier though. Pleased with that. I should do a thing about my analytics because I've always wanted to. Shane does love a plant. The thing is, like, it's nice. It's nice to have plans. It's nice to feel cared for by someone being like, I've thought about details. Yep. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. Hi Claire. Oh, hi Claire is a weed pun as well. It's just a very subtle one. I used to have a tag on my Tumblr that was just called Hi. And it was like all stuff that would make me giggle while I was stoned. And then Tumblr started doing this thing where it would show people what you tagged, like on their thing. And so somebody wrote me and was like, were you trying to say hi to me in the tags? And then I got paranoid because I was stoned. Yeah, I think like the leader thing and like who has more emotional intelligence between these two is fascinating because it's neither. And so like it's very much the Tumblr updates. That website is alive though. I have not seen shit this good in quite some time. This is not. I'm gonna go to my friends and like it's just there's so much good shit right now. Well, Taylor Swift released something today, so it's actually just Taylor Swift on here. There we go. The gift sets are so good. The jokes are like this shit is great. I'm like, can I actually make this big enough to be able to see it? It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean they're only 18 here? Yeah, I think, okay, what I think about in terms of their like leading each other and like Ilya being the more sexually experienced one of them in terms of having hooked up with men before is really important because Shane does kind of, I think, place a lot of like, well, he knows what he's doing. And so I shouldn't want different things. And I think the thing, okay, let's get into some headcanons because I'm a little bit stoned now. I think Shane is very boyfriend coded. To me, Shane wants a lot of things that he knows he like won't get from this situation, and so he like just lets himself have these little moments that are very romantic. Him kissing Ilya on the forehead to me is one of those moments. I think Ilya's much more like practical in the approach because he has done this at least with Sasha before, if not more men, but it might have just been Sasha, which is like not that much experience and certainly did not go on for nearly as long and get as emotionally involved and all of that stuff. So that's interesting. I will say this is like these two hookups might be the two best hookups. I think these jeans, like, not those ones. That look on Connor's story is so baby Swayze. And the tank top's helping too. Ooh. Shilia's. This is all zoomed in now. Good Lord. Ooh, also, I will say, like, it doesn't not remind me of Heath Ledger. How do you even find things anymore? Badoop. This is okay. Yay. I'm just gonna, sorry, I am just now going through your blog. He did have a great tank top moment. This is one of my favorite Ilya looks in the entire thing. I love the incredulity, the incredulousness. God, I love Heath Ledger so much. I do think Heath Ledger is one of my all-time, like, I'm just always so sad when I think about Heath Ledger. Somebody was making a joke about how, like, you can tell it was a fanfic writer because of the amount of times these two are in tuxes. I'm like, yeah. The airport look is great. They're 24 here in my favorite makeout session in the entire show, which is saying a lot. Because there's a lot of good makeouts. There was a really good post on Tumblr that was talking about, like, Shane having, like, the worst night of his life at the club, like, had to drink alcohol, broke his diet, had to go home and top, like, just a fucking nightmare for him. And the reluctance of going up the stairs and, like, Rose performing sexuality, and Shane just staring after her in horror is so funny. All of this happened to them when they were 25. That's incredible. Oh, I think I posted about this. This was the smiling gift set. This is my friend's favorite smile. It is a very sweet kiss, but you do have to immediately exit out of it. This is also one of my favorite expressions. Yeah, the tuna melt is one of the most romantic scenes that we get. It is just also the single most devastating. We'll just leave that going in the background. The stairwell kiss is also incredible. It's just so good. They're both so cute. The characters are really good, well-rounded, well-thought-out characters that have individual motivations that somehow directly mirror and match each other, and that's just really good narrative storytelling. And I think the use of inherent conflict is quite good, and a lot of the show, I think, does come down to, like, just the quality of acting and writing and producing and shooting and all of that. But, like, the acting really did elevate a lot of the source material. And I think that, like, that's why, like, the arch rival line stands out to me as clunky, is because there's not a lot of clunky moments. And I don't know. I feel like I've never really talked about, like, anything negative on here, because, like, why bother? You know, there's so many positive, lovely things to focus on. But I do think in general, there are just a few lines that I'm like, eh. The actors couldn't move on from it. Here's the thing. I think if the actors couldn't kiss, this show would not, like, I think the sex scenes are, like, just honestly incredibly well done. But I also just think, like, the amount of making out that happens and how each one is so good and different. Yeah, I really think the unknownness of them, also, like, the amount of effort they both put into this is incredible. The quickness of the shoot, the fact that, like, Connor's, like, kept track of his accent in different things, so, like, you can tell that it, like, gets stronger, like, it's, like, waning as the years go by, and they didn't shoot it in chronological order. And I think, like, just, yeah, the hunger they both had for it, and, like, yeah, I don't know, it would not have been the same. It would not have been the same at all. Like, they pitched it to Americans, and they wanted, like, no sex and stuff, and, like, you need it. As somebody pointed out, slow burn, but they're fucking the entire time. We would have gotten Surf Dracula. There would have, yeah, exactly, like, no kissing till episode 5. There would have been 3 episodes of build-up, and, like, there would not have been a Kip and Scott episode. And yeah, I think their performances are both really incredible. And is Connor on SNL next week? I don't watch SNL anymore. Got a lot of feelings about Lorne Michaels. But yeah, I think, like, the intimacy of the production, the fact that it was, like, a small budget, they got some really incredibly intimate shots and things. So I think he'll be fine. He did clowning. He did, like, he's, like, a trained improv person. Like, I think he'll be absolutely fine. I think SNL sucks for other reasons, but I think in general, talented hosts do okay. So good for him booking. The Wonderland spread, also very good. Like, they're both doing great jobs being famous now. What a fucking nightmare. Yeah, I mean, I think he's suffered worse than a bunch of SNL fans. Not like no one ever likes SNL. So hopefully he just doesn't see it. I think the internet must be a terrifying place for him to be right now. So hopefully he's just not on it. I get scared for them. But, you know, I don't know them. So, I'm sure they're just fine. Apparently their residual, like, pay structure is quite good. So thrilled to hear about that. They deserve it. The show's getting licensed everywhere, which is also very cool. And, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's also why, like, I never make videos about the actors, because I'm just trying to keep the focus on the show. I really don't think that there's anything to add to the discourse that's, like, helpful around how people obsess over actors. Support the work. You can support the work without being weird and memorizing a bunch of facts about them. But fan culture is not predicated on the work anymore, and it's very much I don't know. Shipping real people is such a thing now, and I know it always has been, but not like this. Yeah, they apparently have, so, like, you get residuals in television when people watch your show. So, like, you get paid every single time the show airs in, like, or does reruns. And for a long time, there's been, like, the recent strikes that actors have done are usually centered around the fact that streaming services are not good about paying residuals. You used to be able to earn, like, a pretty decent living as an actor, even if you were just, like, a small actor in a lot of sitcoms, because they reran so much that you'd get a lot of residual pay. So it's like pay that comes after your initial paycheck for the shows. And so a lot of actors' strikes recently have been around the fact that streaming doesn't do good residual pay because Netflix like doesn't let you know the money, or like doesn't let you know how many people actually watched your show and stuff. So people get like checks for like 25 cents. And so because this show is being sold to so many markets, they apparently, according to Jacob, have like a decent pay residual structure. So they're getting a lot of money that they didn't get up front. Like they were not paid a lot to do this show, but they're making hopefully decent back end money now. And like, yeah. They also apparently got a cut of all of like the toys and like any merch being made. So hopefully that's true too. But this is all alleged. That's so fair to be annoyed already about discourse. Discourse is really annoying. I honestly, Twitter has become like unusable. For me, especially all of like the vague posting stuff that's happening now, and so like I've kind of just stopped going on there, which has been good. My phone time is absurd, but part of that is because I'm making stuff on it. So that's, I mean, good for them. They shot it in like 28 days. Like it was the costume went over budget apparently. So Twitter used to be so good though. Twitter was so good for a while. Like I've been on Tumblr the whole time, but Tumblr really had like a downturn. Tumblr used to be incredible, and then Twitter really got good for quite some time, and now Twitter's bad. Now everything's bad. But I hate Meta the most. So I hate Instagram and I hate Facebook and stuff. So yeah, Tumblr used to be so good. But the internet used to be good. And then all of these terrible men showed up, and all of the creative people sold them their companies for billions of dollars. I feel Jacob has said that he doesn't expect the budget to get increased next season because they've proven that they can do it on a small budget, but I feel like they'd be stupid to not give them a slightly larger budget. Like just get more hockey in there. I need them to get like good body doubles and have some good shit, cuz like if you haven't seen good hockey, it's quite good. And if you want to look at the guy that Shane's based on, Sidney Crosby is one of the funniest like people in terms of like being interviewed, and also his like puck handling skills are really incredible. So I want a tiny bit more hockey. They don't have the practice rink at the cottage as far as we know. Maybe they will. I want them ice skating on natural water. Oh hey, is he from Nova Scotia? My best friend in high school who was Canadian was obsessed with Sidney Crosby. So at some point I knew a lot about Sidney Crosby. Oh, good. My favorite scene. My accent is not, I mean, it's an East Coast accent, but I used to have an Irish accent, so it's just kind of a mishmash. I'm also, like, I've been smoking, so, hockey? How do I say? Now I'm self-conscious about it. I will say I can't hear the oh my god. I hear him inhale, but I don't hear him say oh my god when he's lifted up onto the counter in the tuna melt scene. Um, there is in the episode 4 montage when he has Shane bent over the couch between Shane getting like checked up against the boards. He says, "I want to please you," and that's fun. I can hear that. I know that the oh my god. I've been told that the oh my god exists. I can't hear it personally, but I have never listened to it with headphones, so I should try that. The I Want to Please You is really good. Very, very good. One of my favorite cuts in the episode. That to me feels like the hint that we get about the like them kind of using like the rivalry as foreplay, and it kind of like factoring into their sex life in that way as well, and like their sex life being like reflective of the I can maybe hear the O, so like maybe I am hearing it. I'm just not hearing because I've been looking for like oh my god in full. So I'll listen again. There's another one. I mean, Ilya says oh my god up against the wall in the stairwell, and then he says whoa when Shane goes down. I feel like the first time I saw that montage, I like said like whoa out loud. Oh, this is a cute one. I've only ever been in love with one person is also a very cute line. It's one of the top romantic lines we get, I would say. Oh, that's true. He also, I think he says, "Let me show you how to do this, kid," before he goes down on Shane the first time. And I feel like it's the only time he calls Shane kid. I also believe that Shane like studied. Look at him be in love. Look at all these gifts. It could be like, let me show you how to do this. But he says something after let me show you how to do this. So in love. The glasses back on is one of my favorites. Oh, and then look, here's Shane being in love. This is an incredible gif. I could see that. Or I could hear that, I guess. I think it's for sure like muffled enough that I'm not 100% on kid. I think it would be out of character for him to say it. It's also, I don't like Rosie. I don't believe that he meant to say that in that one. I think he like got cut off with a gasp. Yeah, I feel like It's Too Good is very sweet. I don't know. It does, so like either way, even if it wasn't good, it's still sweet of him to say. So I really like that line. Because it's just it's nice to reassure your partner, and people can be coached. So it's good in that way. I like that. I like that scene a lot. I think it's also like reassuring to people who are nervous about that for their first time. Yeah, he's a great first partner, and like overall a decent partner in general. Makes a few mistakes, as we all do. But I think Yeah, I mean, it could be his hockey nickname, but I really like the Regency romance of it all. Okay, I am gonna sign off, and I'm gonna do it really quickly. But this has been so much fun. Thank you all for sticking around and being here and watching my computer screen while I've gotten high for the last 20 minutes. Okay, have a good rest of your night.